Next is the most interesting part, I would say. I mean, not that the 4 sessions weren't that interesting. So we will have a small round table, right? All right. So the title is How to Become a Star DBA. DBA could be anything, right? Database engineer, database newbie, or a person who's doing a simple data analytics, right? Or person who is touching and saying select star from a table, right? The topic is how to become a star DBA, right? How to become a star database person, right? Let's start with your introductions, right? Let the people know how much of experience you have, right? And then I've been seeing this person asking some of the super interesting questions. So I thought, okay, let him bring on stage and then share his fresh perspectives that he's bringing to the table, right? And then I've heard about Mukesh. I've worked with Mukesh, and then Anand is somebody with whom I interacted with very little of late. Do me somebody who is pretty close to our Postgres women in India, right? So I'll just hand it over to Mukesh to start off the introduction piece.
My name is Mukesh Marodia. I'm part of product management team at Google. As part of my responsibility, I manage Cloud SQL database, which are basically 3 databases: Postgres, SQL Server, and MySQL. And in that, I'm responsible for the Gen AI and observability part. About 15-20 years experience in the industry. Most of that time has been with data management company called Informatica, talking to the similar people in the room, but for a different reason. They're moving data from one system to other system, doing ETL or trying to do data privacy or governance. So spend a lot of time in this industry. And yeah, I don't consider myself as like a expert database engineer, how to become a DBA, because I myself is not a one, but I like to create and make it easy for people in the room to do their job.
I'm Anand Ram, working with InnoMinds for last 6 years. Before that, for last 2 decades, I worked with Terra R&D, where DSQL is my data. And InnoMinds worked a lot in Postgres. For Western Union, for Unilog, we migrated from Oracle to Postgres. So one is a content publishing company which caters to many retail companies. Western Union, maybe you would have heard, it's a big fintech company. So we did a good amount of migrations to Postgres, and we're hoping to do a lot more in coming future. That's all from my side. Anything more? Any questions?
We'll have more questions to you. Now that you have introduced yourself. Good.
Myself, Rumi. I'm working in DXC Technologies. I have around 11 years of experience as a database administrator. And I have worked for clients, automobile, banking, finance, and BMW is one of my biggest client, where I have handled 10,000 plus databases for Postgres. And that is the biggest Postgres user, I can say. And I have seen so many challenges for handling such a big clients and with the big data. So I can share few my experiences here, but I still feel like a fresher sitting over here with over expert people, I can say. So many expert faces, I can say. Hari Square and Abbas and so many people. But still, whatever I have seen in my career, I can definitely share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rumi.
Sitting with all of you makes me very nervous. So, hi everyone. I'm Aryan. I am a security engineer at Blue Flag Security. It's an SDLC startup, and my job over there is doing some security research, building the core product. My experience around databases hasn't exactly been a lot. In my first job, I did bits and pieces. I did bits and pieces around databases, but just storing the data, retrieving the data, that was enough. In my current job as well, I am building some pipelines around my data. So right now we're using MongoDB, so we are looking at some aggregate pipelines, and that's about it. There's not much experience that I have around databases. So yeah, that's it. And I have around 2.5 years of experience.
Right. Now, I am going to be moderating this. I don't know. I have this. So, I'm going to be moderating this, right? So, why we have this four people on the stage? Mukesh comes in where he's trying to make life easy for database engineers, right? For people who are working with databases. And then we have Anand with 2.5 decades of experience just dealing with the data from an R&D perspective, right? And we have got a person with operational excellence as her, a decade of experience. And then we have a 2.5-year-old gentleman who's purely into security, right? Everybody is talking about security. Everybody is emphasizing now what is the importance of security, right? So me, Rajesh, and Abbas have done a good job of picking the right people for the round table or no, right? Yes or no, please? Yes. Thank you, right? So the first and foremost question, I would push it to Rumi because we believe in women empowerment and then keeping our women ahead. So what is that one quality that the data engineers or database administrators need to have to become a star in their careers?
I can definitely say you should have a troubleshooting technique that you have to understand what is the error is showing. For example, you have to have knowledge about the error, understand the error first, and check the logs. And then half the issue is resolved if you understand the error, and you can definitely know error is saying something, and that is the part you have to make improvement or some issue resolving technique. And performance tuning is more important. As a database administrator, we mostly focus on database things only, but I can definitely say that as a database admin, we have to understand what is application wants, application requirement. So we generally miss that. Application, we don't care about application. We just think something is coming from application. We are about, if database is working 100% fine, then we think that our job is done. But it is not like that. We have to understand the database application technique, and we have to implement compatibility. Means, right, what I mean to say is application is more reliable or compatible with the database what I have configured. That is more important.
Great. So, Mukesh, I would field this question. What is your perspective as a product guy, right now, looking at what should be that one quality you would want to see in a gentleman or a gentlewoman while you are hiring, right? So, what would be your stab at this?
Yeah, I think I like to add to what he talked about, having that curiosity with a fresh pair of eye. You are in this, when you are doing the performance tuning, when you are doing database administration work, you are not going to see the regular problem which you saw yesterday. So having that fresh pair of eyes and having that curiosity of being able to solve the problem from a fresh point of view, that is what we look for. And the problems will keep changing. The tools will keep changing. But if you have that mindset of looking at the problem, going deep into it, spending enough time on it, and then finding solutions, that is one quality which will be always useful, because the tools will continue to change. But that is something which we look for, and we even in our interview process for across the roles, not only like a developer role, even for a product management role, even for a data analyst role. We look for problem solving as a major skill. And I think that comes up with you have a detective type mindset that you are just not looking at the first clue and jumping on to like, yeah, this person is the culprit, right? You really need to look at data a little bit longer. You really need to spend time so that you are identifying the root cause, then finding the root cause and fixing it, and also finding a way to prevent it from happening in future.
Great. So keeping your eyes and ears open is what I would summarize, maybe. Right. So let's give it to Arya. So Aryan, when you looked at security as your career, right? So there are different levels of security. Right? They've got hardware security, software. Software itself has multiple levels of security. When you look at database security, how important that an engineer should have good knowledge of security, database security to become a successful engineer.
So by engineer, do you mean just security engineer or just a good
database,
engineer?
Yeah, a good engineer.
I would say at least they should have good enough knowledge on how databases work, how exactly transactions work, which is something I personally lack. I don't exactly have a lot of knowledge around databases. But yeah, you should. The first thing that I personally have been working on is just knowing my own data, what kind of data I'm going to deal with. And when I have interaction with students who are younger than me, what I have been seeing is that they don't exactly know what they're dealing with, and they start with a project. The first database that they're picking up is something like MongoDB, and they have no idea about how exactly what data they would need today, or what data they're going to need in the future. And that is something which I have been helping a couple of students out with as well. First, know your data. Second, when you think about databases, understand what exactly are the kind of operations that might be needed on that data. So some data will probably need to be processed in different manner. For example, maybe some data is just around results of a scan. This is an example from security, but it's not going to happen all the time. Maybe you're getting data from one source, and now you need that data in another format, which changes what exactly the use case is going to look like for that data. So you have to figure out what kind of data it is, what the use case is going to look like, and what are the different operations that might happen on that kind of data. For example, transaction would completely change how you're going to look at your data itself. There are multiple rows that there are multiple rows. Multiple rows could be changed at the same time, and you never thought about it. So you are never going to think about setting up the right processes within that database itself. So yeah.
Cool. Let's look at Anand's. So Anand, slightly going ahead of game here. So you have done Teradata for a couple of decades, and then you are looking at Postgres of late. And then when you look at the security aspects of Teradata, right? And then you had looked at the security aspect of Postgres per se. How do you see, how much of parity is between these two database platforms?
See, in general, when you look at DB, it goes to the role-based security, RBAC and all that. So everything comes on top of it. It's not like there is one layer of security. So there is multiple layers of application has its own security. DB level has its own security. It's a multiple layers of security, but still you see the cyber these things nowadays, because they are better developers than the actual developers maybe, not to shy away. But I want to come back to the DBA thing once more. DBA should not think he is a responsive guy for an event. Something happened, I need to work. DBA should be a pseudo developer, pseudo architect who understands the whole system, all the operations and the business criticality. So DBA should not think I'm just like a network administrator where some problem is there, I'm going to fix. You should be like, you should know the whole design, whole model, business priorities. You should not fix something in a lower priority which will break the higher priority task. So, I mean, I was preparing to answer the DBA question, so I'm answering that.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. That's about the earlier. Yeah, security, it's like catch-22 problem. I mean, more the security increase, more the breakers there are. So it is a never-ending process.
Right. So if I understand now Anand's point a little, right? Being jack of all trades and master of few or nothing, is that going to work out?
It has to be, see, mastery, there is no definition for mastery, right? You may work in C programming for 20 years, but still you can't say you are a master, right? It's all about the functionality of the particular work you do, you are a master there. So expert is a very loosely defined word. Jack of all means you know what is required to understand at that moment. Like you are a DBA, you got a problem, you understand what are the operations around it, what are the business priorities around it. So it's not jack of all, knowing familiar with everything and having some understanding will help you in resolving that crisis more better way.
Right. So Mukesh, from a product perspective, right? How well the security is like security is part and parcel of every product, every database product that comes up, whether it is cloud plus databases, cloud ops or whatnot, right? How well the engineer, the database engineer should be abreast with the latest and greatest?
Yeah, I'll take a completely orthogonal approach. It's not reality yet, but that's what we want to go. The security should become invisible, right? There is security in the room. I don't know, there is camera there, right?
Yeah, we have got access cards.
Yeah, we have got access card, right? But it is not interfering with the work which we are doing. So, as Google, we are kind of seeing maximum number of security event on the whole public internet. Also, as a Mandiant, which is part of Google, we are the first respondent to majority of security event which happens globally. It could be a cyber attack from a country to another country, or it could be a big attack on public infrastructure, right? But when we are using a particular service, it is prone to the same or similar type of attack. Now, as a developer or as a database administrator, it is impossible for somebody to be really abreast with everything which is going on in security. As Anand mentioned, the threat actors are more motivated, right? Because they can make money out of it. For every dollar which is spent in security, there are $4 which are spent in breaking the security.
Right.
Okay. So it's a very hard game for developers to know everything about security. So as we are creating product, we want to ensure that there is enough security is in the product itself, which is baked in and which is invisible to people, right? Like the PG crypto is the right example. You really don't need to understand how hashing algorithm work, but you need to know that password need to be encrypted,
Right.
right? At least that much should be your knowledge. So my take again is, as a developer, as a database administrator, you should know the basic of security, but choose the right product, which basically gives you security by default. Security is baked in and it is tested for those wartime situation, because most of you are building application here for like big use cases, big corporation for a global scale. I think that's the beauty of this part of the world, which is not there in many part of the world. So I say that make that right choice so that you have to deal with lesser problem, but the more you know about it, you'll be able to take more informed decision. Right? So basic understanding of different layers of security and how you can not keep it open for even a basic operation, right? You have doors, you have locks, but if you don't even lock your main door and sleep at night, chances of somebody getting in is very, very high, right? So that much security you should be aware. There is CCTV camera, there is a security guard, but if you keep it open, chances of somebody breaking in is much higher.
Great, great. So, every one of you can actually go ahead and ask questions, for the four, panelists here. I'll have one final question. So, is it necessary for a database engineer to know, so we are in a Postgres meetup. So, Postgres meetup is by default, right? So, PostgreSQL is by default. Apart from knowing Postgres, right, the database engineer knowing more than, Postgres, right, Teradata or, SQL Server or Postgres or, Informatica for that matter, right? Is that quality or is that competency of that engineer going to change anything? Is that the way you look at it?
Not much.
Yeah, please.
Not much. I mean, not everybody has to do the same thing. I mean, there are some set of people who will take care. I mean, database engineer should have idea, but she need not be an expert in that.
Okay, so if the database engineer is a Postgres expert to a certain level, that is good enough.
Yes, that's
Okay.
my take.
What's your take, Mukesh?
Yeah, again, I'll take the analogy of like a doctor, right? If you are a heart surgeon, you better know about cardiology, you better know about heart, how heart works. But if you also know about medicine, that is going to be useful, right? If you know about nervous system, that is like required. You will get help in a multi-speciality hospital for other specialty. But if a database administration also knows about security, he is a special person. And like I think all of us need to know about AI and how to use database for AI, because lot of new applications are getting built on AI. So I'll say, like, if you add more skill or one more skill, it kind of not adds that 10%, it kind of compounds that value. That's my take.
Okay.
Right.
So, Robi, you
Little bit
yourself,
orthogonal to what you said.
you yourself have worked on
horizontal expertise, this security and
right. So you yourself have worked on multiple database platforms, right? You and I have discussed about MongoDB. You are part of Postgres group, right? How do you look at?
In my view, I can say Postgres expertise is fine, but you should have at least 50% of knowledge on other databases also. To whenever you are doing migrations, it helps in migration. There is
Anything over and above migrations? No, if migrations is not in the equation, do you think having other database experiences?
that is adding up you as a multi-skill person.
Okay. On the
Obviously,
resume.
on the resume, and definitely it will give weightage to your skills, and you can enhance whatever there in, as Postgres is a open source. For example, if you have more knowledge on Oracle also, you can add up some features. You can tell the client that why you are using Oracle. For example, in my situation, I can say to the client that this is feature available in Postgres also, why you are using enterprise version of Oracle, why you are paying so much. You can, this is the smartness of the people. Client will think like, okay, she is saving my so many dollars, right? Why I waste this thing? Definitely he will. Altogether, we have to pull everybody into Postgres.
Great
So we have
Great
to
point.
have so much knowledge on others also, so that we can compare and say that this feature we also have. We are open source. We have so many extensions. He has told, Ashwin has told 300 plus extensions. That I know, I don't know. I thought like only 100 extensions.
Right.
But we can learn about, and we can just pull up, and we can make our Postgres family more bigger.
Right. So Aryan, this slightly tweak that question. You look at when you interact with a lot of students, as you say, right? How would you enlighten them, right? What are the databases that they have to pick up in academics? And what is the reason behind asking them to pick up a database, or for that matter any open source technology?
So around databases, what I have been suggesting them is at least know what kind of databases exist, because there's a different purpose for each kind of database. What you're using for your regular exercise might not exactly be very relevant to, let's say, data that's being time series data, for example. If there's a kid who has only done MongoDB or Postgres without any knowledge on how exactly time series work, they will have a very hard time understanding how to use this.
Right.
So yeah, it would be good for them to at least know that different forms of data exist and how this kind of data can be dealt with using that particular kind of database.
Awesome.
So use case would be one big thing that I generally tell people, think about the use case.
Great, great. So anybody in the audience now wants to ask questions to these four knowledgeable people, for us and these people, right? Not me.
So you're a combination of all four.
I wouldn't want that privilege. Any questions? No, I'll just reiterate the question onto the mic so that everybody is in line. Any questions? Do you think I have covered all the questions?
Yes, as I said, they are more expertise and so they
Table is reversed. They are in the round table.
No, they absolutely not. Absolutely not. So when they said yes, we have chosen the right panel. Yeah, I mean that itself qualifies all four of you to be at a good.
People are Friday evening, 7 o'clock, you're asking this.
Any questions that you might want to ask? Good?
So I only
I'll-
have one thing to say. As everyone, if something we are doing like upgrades or any activity or migration, we do in lower environments, right? First, and we ensure that if we are doing on production, we ensure that what we see just we have proper backup on time and everything that we see, right? But what I say is before just ensuring that you have proper backup, just make sure that that backup is restorable. In some cases, what happen is we just go, okay, we are confident enough that backup is there, but we still have to restore that multiple times, and then only we have to do something on production systems. So that is what I can say, and just make sure you have all proper documentation so that everybody here is expert only, so we can give that documentation to our junior people who they want to perform. That will be easier for them.
That's coming from a person who has been there, done that, and then burnt their fingers, right?
Yes, definitely. I can say you will become expert if you have done something. Not on production, I'm saying. Just
Drop the production database and then restore it.
yes, parallel runs. That mistake happened with me. I came home and I was in hurry to make something in kitchen. I got a phone call from my client saying that you stop this database, POC, POS. Both the database are naming conventions are same. In hurry, I heard only one thing, PO something. Okay, I thought I imagined myself that okay, it could be POS. I stopped POS, but it is POC. It's like make sure, ask some be very specific when you are doing something on production databases.
Keep your eyes and ears.
I can always say if you are expert also, there will be 4I. I always say in my meetings to my junior people and something, like if you have confidence, but 2 eyes are not sufficient, just keep a 4 eye.
So, great. Good. Thank you so much, folks. Thank you for being part of this.